Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are Aquarius. I'm Frank. That's Brad. And let's get going here. So, how's it going, buddy? How you doing? Today, tonight,
I'm enjoying some old-fashioned Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks.
Here.
Okay.
Pretty good. Well, I'm a little drinking today.
Well, I think we always do that.
You always do that.
Well, yeah, I always do that. Cheers, dude.
I'm
Cheers.
having
I'll clink for you. I'll clink here. How about that?
Pennsylvania beer. Trogs,
I'm gonna clink. Why aren't you
pumpkins.
gonna clink?
Clink what?
Clank. There.
My camera.
Well, I don't want to hit my camera. Microphone's the only metal thing here. My camera's all plastic, so it's not gonna work.
Had two of those. I'm on my third. They're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like pumpkin beers all that much. I don't always like crazy flavorful beers, but I like Trogs. If you're from Pennsylvania and you get to try Trogs, sometimes a little costlier, but I feel like everything I've had from them, other than their Pilsner, because I'm not gonna pay $12 some for a Pilsner. It's like watered already, you know. I don't quite need a expensive one of those. I'll just have some. What is a Pilsner anyway nowadays?
Wasn't that just kind of a light beer?
Everything else is a lager anymore, but it's no, there's some Pilsners. I forgot what it's like. I think even Presidente's a Pilsner actually. Pretty good. I like beer. Not obsessed. I don't like to chug beer and get drunk off of beer and have 20-some beers. I like beer though.
Oh no, I know what you're saying. It's if it comes down to beer, my grandpa, who's we've got Irish German descent and all that, he would have a few beers a night, and I don't know if he had more than that, but every time I went over there, every single night he'd have a few beers a night. He would always have beer at night. And he told me that his grandpa told him, he said that beer is healthier for you than soda is. And I think to some degree that's true. So I still have beer every night, just kind of like him, but I'm not like getting wasted every night or anything like that. I'll have some. I
don't have beer every night. We're taking other things, but I don't have beer every night.
Yeah. But
a lot of people for a long time had beer for breakfast. Again, not to get super drunk, but and I tried it for a little bit. For a good week, I just had beer for breakfast. And you know what? I felt great. I like my hot tea and I like my egg.
Wake up. It's like you wake up with a happier feeling instead of groggy. It's like, oh, you feel a little more light.
Well, it's like a protein shake, but it tastes like beer. Because the carbohydrates, I felt good. I was like, okay, I'm awake. You don't want to have two, because then you're going to start to get tipsy in the morning, and you don't really want to get tipsy in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's really like a carb drink with some alcohol in it. The alcohol is kind of just to settle you down for the morning. You just woke up, alcohol it up a little bit. Carbohydrates.
Yeah. Unless I'm going out and somebody else is paying for my beers or something, I have two, and if they're going to take me home, I could have two. But if I just go out for a meal, one beer is enough, honestly.
Who's paying for your beers and taking you home?
Friends.
I don't want to sound sexist, but that was the most chick thing I've ever heard.
No, other guys do typically. I don't really if I every time I went on with a date with a girl, I'd have one beer and I'd be done, because just any more
Pitcher's not one beer, dude. A pitcher doesn't count as one beer.
Okay, I'm not talking about Germany. I'm talking about here in America. America,
Look at that color.
Even Wisconsin, where you think that we're the brew city, we're actually pretty light as far as what we drink compared to what Germans drink over there. And even Irish people, believe it or not, did you believe that? Do you believe that? They go out for a beer almost every night. They go out to a pub. They have Guinness. They'll have 2, 3 of those things. go back home. When I was in Ireland, dude, I saw this little 6-year-old girl go to the bartender, get a Guinness, and bring it over to her mom. And she's like, "Here you go, mommy. Here's your beer." And
When I was
it
in
was at 9 o'clock
1990,
at
I used to
it
see
was
that
nine
same
o'clock at
thing.
night, and it was in Ireland. I'm like, wow. this,
Well,
this
that
is
but that brings us to the whole point of what we were talking about earlier, what we wanted to kind of theme the whole show of honor over, I mean, I said monetary value because I think monetary value is the number one thing, but how high does honor go? And I can't think of it right now, and I'll try to think of it throughout the show of like other things that are of high importance
well, like honor,
other
like
than,
in a system of like
I mean,
not over
honor.
drinking. Like if I say I'm having a few beers a night, I'm not getting drunk every night. I'm
Well,
having a
that's
few
the
beers. I'm relaxed, and then I can
But
go to
even in
sleep.
the
It's like,
70s and
and I'm
60s
and
with alcohol, they honored the honor system, kind of like, okay, we're not going to pull every guy over just because he's, potentially drunk of 0.08. It's like if he can get home, that's the goal. Like he got home safely. We don't need to ruin his life because he decided to have a good time. That's the whole point of going to a bar. If if bartenders couldn't serve patrons who they knew were drunk, they'd all be bankrupt.
yeah, there'd
I
be no
mean, that's
money
the
at
whole
all.
that's the whole reason.
There'd
And
be
that's the
literally
whole
no money at all.
that goes in the whole reason of why you had a prohibition in the past. That's why look at marijuana got illegal, and now marijuana is going through the same kind of concept now. It's all just a big circle of things. But what was it? Was it Portugal? And there's another country I think too, but I thought it was Portugal where they legalized all their drugs, and now after like 10, 15 plus years, they're like the lowest number of problems with drugs.
The Netherlands. I don't know.
I think it was a Spanish speaking country that did it.
Was it? I
I
can't
want to
say.
say Portugal even.
I'm trying to come up with an idea, but I don't know. But
I don't think Portugal's like the front runner. It was another country. Like I don't think it's Argentina or something like that, but it's like one of the like I think it's a South American country
could be Argentina.
that like legalized everything. But I
Hmm.
think Portugal legalized a lot too, but they like transferred a lot of their money towards programs to like help people be like, why are you doing heroin in the first place? Like, let's figure this out
Hmm.
instead of like, let's extra police force and extra police divisions to, crack down on the crack houses. So,
Yeah,
and,
I
but
wonder if it has something to do with the fact that people were just making money in such a way that the government wasn't able to find a way to monetize it, with prohibition and stuff. People were able, I think it was at the time everybody was making their own bootleg bathtub beer. Everybody had their own system for that. And I think the government wanted to have some control over that. So they tried to push the prohibition for that. And then later on, they had speakeasies, of which, the police didn't know, where the beer was going to. And that's where they came up with NASCAR. They actually made their engines faster so they could just escape the cops, get away with it. The cops couldn't catch them because I've got a 80 horsepower engine and you got a 30 horsepower engine. Well, guess what? You ain't
well,
fucking catching me.
yeah, it's
It's. I'm not
it's
saying it was
interesting
that, but I'm
how
just saying it's like we get to
even
points in
Sublime
life where
you get well even later when you get into like I don't want to cut you off. Even Sublime like did that in 1982. They talk about the riots where it's like the people went out to go try to fight the police, and the police realized like, oh, like we got to step it up now. We got to go over to the local gun shop and get better stuff because these people are shooting armor piercing rounds at us, and they have automatics, and things aren't what we thought they originally were. It's not just
Mhm.
handguns anymore. So, and that's caused a big stir and all that with the gun world. But at the same time, you think like back to like Jefferson, where it's like, well, people are rioting. Maybe vice versa, they had a good reason to riot. If they're rioting at that level because, of poverty and problems like that, maybe there's problems, maybe you guys should try to
that
start to solve these problems. And that's why I always, criticize Joe Biden because he always keeps talking about the previous establishment. Joe Biden, you've been the establishment for over 40 some years. You were the
he
establishment.
is the
Like the previous
establishment.
establishment is you,
He's been in
not
Congress
Trump.
for dude.
Trump only pulled out 4 years in there.
Dude,
He was never a politician.
Biden's been in Congress for 200 years, man.
Yeah,
Long
I know. I
fucking time.
made that comment. 200 plus years.
I think he said that himself, actually.
He said it. I
Yeah,
mean,
he said it. Former vice
gaff or
president.
not, he said some pretty weird things anymore. I mean,
It just,
even Harris. Harris. That whole space thing is all fake. It's all actors.
yeah, not a single kid that was like a student or really enjoyed science or whatever got to go and meet to have this kind of conversation to talk about real things, all staged. It's like you would think that some kind of NASA kid that loves NASA and wants to be a part of it, wants to be an astronaut, wants to go
And there's
there, a
probably
petition, write a letter. Hey,
not
if
even
there's
thousands, like a
anything,
million
could I
kids probably
could I
to
could I
pick
show up for
from,
this? And
which
they just
sounds challenging. So let's just pick some actors that, you know,
it's so sad. It's so sad.
it's
You know?
sad. It's sad to see. It's as if you don't even care about, and we know it.
Yeah.
We know you don't
It,
care
it
about
it's
any of us.
it's
That's the
as
sad truth
if,
about it.
to the point that it probably is the point that they don't care. They don't care about the people actually that do care about, being a part of that system. They just care
I
about
mean,
image. Because if you think
I
about
mean,
you're going to pick scientific kids that actually are good at what they're doing and they want to be a part of it, or you're going to pick actors. You're going to pick actors because it's about the look, it's about the image. It's not about the reality. That's what it
well, I
comes
mean,
down to
like,
when we look at
look
it.
at
It's not about
Fauci. Fauci, you're a scientist, not a literature major. So using words like egregiously, it doesn't make me feel more genuine about you. It makes me feel like you're a schmuck.
And you see
Like
see Ron
I
Paul
don't know what to
talking to him
tell you.
lately. He got smacked down verbally.
And,
It like he
and
can't
there
even
was
argue
another
against.
senator, and Senator Mallett. I wish I could remember the senator who like really stood up to it all because he made a great point. He said, at this point in everything, why is there no like natural immunity studies being done? Like
Because
you as
that
a CDC would think that the natural immunity studies would be like your prime studies being done, but you just seem to ignore it for like pro vaccination. And now they
because
even put
because
something
because Brad, this is
80%
what they
that you
this
won't
is
even
what
get
they
the
don't
common cold.
this is what they don't get because they're not doing science. Science has a control group. The control group are the people that didn't get the vaccine, got COVID, and
The guy
survived.
said that, the
That's the
senator, I
control
wish I
group.
could remember
But
his name. It's a shame.
that's what science is about, and they miss the boat on that every time. Because if you do science in any other way, you have a control group, and then you have,
He said it.
this
What was
other.
it? Minneapolis or Milwaukee or whatever. He said like one of the major hubs. He's like, let's get some test subjects from there who don't have COVID and find out why. Like they're in a an area that they should have it, and they didn't have it. They had it, but they had it in the outbreak in the first year. Let's start looking into their natural immunity because, as far as I'm concerned, people who have natural immunity at this level and they're confident that they're
They have
not going to get it
all the
again.
proteins, not just one from the vaccine. They have
I mean,
all the
and it
proteins.
stated the I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I won't quote anybody just to sound stupid. But he clearly stated evidence that showed that natural immunity is a clear cut, way of how
Winner.
things are working, especially because, but Dr. Fauci won't, got back to Dr. Fauci and Rand Paul, he really won't admit. Rand Paul even said that you changed the definition the day the NIH person came out and said you then changed the definition of
To
what
fit the
gain of function
narrative.
research means.
To fit the
That
narrative.
to what call what EPPPP, like what come on.
To fit the narrative. To fit his
We
narrative.
can all
So it's like,
talk
oh, I
and
changed the
say he's
definition, so now it's
egregiously incorrect. We can all make big words and sound like we know what we're talking about, but facts are what facts are. Paperwork shows what paperwork shows. And Fauci, you destroyed any credibility of yourself because you have your hand in the cookie jar. I'm
yeah.
even
Dude,
convinced at this point, because of how much you've lied, that maybe you're just a dumbass. and they played
I
you.
was gonna say that too.
Maybe
Because
they played
you saw him at the end. You saw him at the end when Rand Paul's grilling him, and he's like, he can't even say anything anymore. He's so
But
embarrassed
what is up
by
with
his own
Senator Murray? Why
stupidity.
is everybody on his side? Senator Murray, I'm going to give the time
It's
to
money.
Fauci so he can correct, defend himself from your allegations. Allegations? It's not an allegation when there's proof. When
Yeah,
he's literally saying,
because
and
it's
he said, you've defended that your gain of function research should keep going to China. You should defend China, and this and that. He's like, that's completely incorrect. He said last month you just did it. Well. So I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, he literally catches you in a lie, and then you're like, what? Then you stutter, and everybody's like, well, let him finish. He
dude.
did finish, and he even said after they said let him finish, he literally goes, all I want to say is he's egregiously incorrect. Okay, uh, you can use whatever adjective you want, but
Because it comes down to people that get into these particular parts of office, and it's because they use wordplay in just the
why do you
right
think
way. They use
I call
wordplay
myself
to
infamous?
make themselves sound very
You hear
much more
trigger?
intelligent.
What did I say back in the day? I said I call myself infamous and I'm part of the OUS clan because people will always try, and I tried to do it in GoldenEye back in the day, the OUS clan, but nobody caught on to it because you can just make anything OUS. Oh, he's infamous. Oh, he's notorious. He's egregious. He's egregiously
You should
incorrect.
have made yourself egregious,
But that's what I'm
BC.
saying. You can literally make any word try to fit your narrative.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's like showing a clip of somebody shooting someone and be like, I didn't do it. I mean, I don't want to even get into all the fights of it, but it's like George Floyd robbing a place on fentanyl. Everybody, like, even his drug dealer came forward and was like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got, never mind. I don't want to be here. Never mind. Why was I here again? I'm stupid. I didn't sell him fentanyl. Shit. Why'd you put me on here, man? He was like literally cracking up in front of everybody. And they're like, yeah, maybe this whole narrative isn't a good. Even God struck the fucking mural by lightning, saying like, stop fucking worshiping this guy, you fucking people. And like,
If you, when,
look,
when people
well,
say,
look at the
if
woman in
I'm wrong, God
Australia.
strike me down. Well, the whole thing goes.
You hear the woman in Australia? She was like talking about how the vaccine is so good and you need it in order, and she fainted. She just passed out. She couldn't even finish her sentence. She passed out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And they covered that shit up immediately. They
Right
were like,
quick. Yeah.
whoa. Why is she passed? Because that's what I'm saying. God exists. And I'm not saying he does everything. He could if he wanted to. But I mean,
But
honestly, you think
that's the thing.
about
He'd be
God's
like a
like,
Superman. That's what people want Superman. He'd go fix all your problems before anything happened. Everybody would
exactly.
be expecting him to do it all by himself.
I thought about it.
You
An
know?
omnipotent God who knows everything and sees everything, knows you're still going to have a personality. You still are.
Hmm.
And you know what God's personality is? You want to know? I figured it out. You want to know? It's like you and me. He has all the same characteristics. That's why he gave us our thing, That's what I mean. As he said, he made us in his image. We experience the same. So you want to know who God is? He's just like us. If somebody pisses him off, he's angry. If somebody makes him happy, he's happy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
He
I
explained to
know.
you what he
It's.
wants, and the fact is, you might not like it, but
Hmm.
he's God. So suck it up and do what he says.
Get
He
on with it.
gave you a Bible, and you can look at it and be like, well, maybe the Bible's been manipulated by man, and all this and that. Maybe, or maybe God has decided that, you know what? Manipulated by man, my ass. I'm going to control it. So you got the book that I want you to see. I want you to read. You read it. And if you don't agree with it, well, I'll see you. That's why I'm reading Ezekiel right now, man. God's wrath is extreme, man. He don't like it when you don't listen to him. He
Well, yeah,
doesn't.
that's the whole point. Image and likeness.
That's why I'm reading
Other people
Ezekiel right
don't
now.
other
It
people
made me
don't think about
realize.
that though. They don't think about that though. Image and
You read
likeness.
Ezekiel
What
and you're
does
starting
image
to
and
realize
likeness mean?
what
Does it just mean that we're kind of like him. No, it means we
No,
look like him,
we.
and we're like him in our personality.
It's a
Doesn't that blow your
blessing and a
mind?
curse to be so open-minded on
Does
things, isn't it?
doesn't that blow your mind? We look like him, and we
God's
act
looking
like
at all
him.
the to solve humanity. Do you? Do you? Because I gave you an answer, and it's do good unto each other. I gave you Jesus, and you fucking killed him.
I know, that was the whole point. Even
Like,
in the parables, he sent
geez,
his.
you know
Remember
what I
the
mean?
parable where it said he
Jesus
sent his
only
son
said
out?
do good unto other people, and you're like, whoa, 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 do good unto other people.
Hmm.
I mean, come on. That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. It's clear as day that we're headed in the wrong direction.